Origin Chess Home Series Reaction. This is Captain America Brave New Disaster. Bachao, the critical drinker. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I don't remember if I watched a video from this channel, but yeah, I'm pretty sure like he's good. I've heard about him. Like people have told me to watch his video, and I haven't watched new Captain America. I don't think which Marvel movie I ever seen after the end game. Maybe one or two. I don't know, but I don't keep up with the latest Marvel movies. This is Captain America, so it should be big. So I'm like, am I gonna watch this? But yeah, let's see the review first. So this is gonna be a perfect video for me. I don't know, man. It feels like current Marvel movies are just disaster all around, right? Like their target is completely different. I don't know what the target is. How the fuck you make Endgame and everything's perfect all up to that point, and after like Endgame, everything just goes to shit. That's some weird, right? Because Marvel makes a lot of things, and I can't really remember anything before the end game that was like bad, right? Something might have not done well for the Marvel at the Marvel level, but it was still like a hit, right? After Endgame, everything went to shit. Nothing is because of like Iron Man, Captain America just suddenly stopped being a thing after the end game, and like everything changed, and like I think people in the top right just decide, you know what, let's do the 180 with everything. Let's innovate or some shit like that, and they just fuck things up. Up until like Endgame, I think was all moving according to comics, and after that, like people try to be creative and ruin shit. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know, but judging from this title, like yeah, Captain America also sucks. So let's watch this one. Remember, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe so that way I know which type of videos to react to more. Yeah, I've been Marvel fan a long time, but yeah, recently I'm not watching all that. But yeah, if you want me to do more reactions like that, comment down. And yeah, that's what it.
At one point near the end of Brave New World, Sam Wilson uses Captain America's shield, Ant-Man's helmet, and Falcon's wings made from Black Panther's vibranium to fight a not-so-incredible Red Hulk. And so, for the purposes of this review, I'm going to refer to him as Captain Black Ant Falcon Man from now on. Partly because there's only ever going to be one Captain America for me, and that's Steve Rogers, but mostly because I can't think of a more fitting metaphor for what this movie is. A jumbled mishmash of different ideas and storylines ripped off from other, better.
Hold up there. Does he even have superpowers? Captain America, Steve Rogers, but not. He wasn't just some human. Like Iron Man was just human, but technology was his power, right? Captain America wasn't just some human. He was superhuman, right? Super soldier, that was his thing, right? The best super soldier of them all, right? Bucky was also super soldier, but Captain America was just like best element of being a human. Captain America, who represented what America stands for and all that shit, and a superhuman. That's what made him like untouchable. Is this new Captain America? I'm pretty sure he's not, right?
Marvel characters and films. A movie that's clearly been hacked to pieces and reassembled more times than Frankenstein's monster, complete with all the boring played out tropes you'd expect from an MCU that's been drifting rudderless for the past 5 years. A bunch of characters and subplots that go absolutely nowhere, and that doesn't seem to know what it is, and more importantly, why it even exists. And having spent 2 hours slogging my way through it, I can't really tell you either. In short, Captain Black Ant Falcon Man Brave New World is everything we feared it would be. A bloated, overblown, inconsistent mess. Anyway, I don't want to have to waste any more time talking about this than I have to, so without further ado...
Let's get this over quickly.
The movie centers around the fight for control of the Celestial that exploded out of the Indian Ocean in the Eternals. I mean, it's only taken them like 5 years to address this gigantic plot hole, but what—
Wait a minute, I've seen Eternals, I think. I think I've watched it on like one of the streaming services. I don't remember, like yeah, on Disney, right? Like we have Hotstar here, which is basically Disney Plus. I've seen it on that, but I don't think I've seen the end of it. I just like, I don't know.
Whatever. Better
Right?
late
I
than
don't know.
never, I guess. Anyway, because the Celestial's body contains enormous reserves of adamantium, a mineral which is even more invincible than vibranium. Oh, does someone not have a monopoly on the world's most valuable resource now? Pass me the world's smallest fucking
Wait a minute, yeah, adamantium, that's the thing the Wolverine has, right? But there's also vibranium. Yeah, I didn't, like thought. For whatever reason, I just assume both of them are the same thing. But yeah, that's stupid. One is vibranium, one is adamantium. Yeah, adamantium is better, right? Like, I don't know.
Violin. There's now a bit of a gold rush to claim ownership of it, spearheaded by General Ross, who's now been promoted to President of the United States. His goal is to sign an agreement with Japan to share access to the Celestial, and the two countries are close to making a deal. Unfortunately, it all goes tits up during a White House dinner when Isaiah Bradley gets an attack of the Galloping Crazies and tries to assassinate him, only to forget the whole thing after he's captured. Captain Black Ant Falcon Man believes that he was mind-controlled into attacking Ross, and he's determined to clear his name, so he begins his own investigation that soon leads him to a classified black site where he conveniently runs into Giant Brain Man, a test subject exposed to gamma radiation that caused him to get super smart, which Ross then exploited for his own personal gain. Oh yeah, and this small child shows up for like 5 minutes to give us the obligatory girl boss moment, and then basically does nothing for the rest of the movie. You've often heard me joke about petite actresses beating the shit out of guys twice their size, but in this case, it's literally true. If she's more than 5 feet tall and weighs more than 90 pounds, I would be fucking shocked. But don't worry, I'll talk more about her.
Biggest shit this world has, like biggest issue with physical combat or misconception, let's just call it, that people have, is that size matters. Most people don't realize this. Size fucking matters, right? It's like one of those things, like people assume size matters long time ago, then they just became over smart and they're like, oh, skills trump size, which up to a point it does. If you know basic fighting, size matters more, right? You will think, I don't know, you see comments about this, like a featherweight in UFC division, someone who's like Islam Makhachev, right? Someone like him can beat the shit out of like Francis Ngannou or something. That's what people say. Okay, as someone who's like heavyweight but who's not a fighter, you're right. Skill will matter at that point. For someone who's a fighter, average fighter, like I'm not even talking about Francis, like ignore that. Some average fighter who's a proper heavyweight, like 260 pounds. No, a 150-pound guy is not gonna beat the shit out of like 260-pound guy, right? Even if like one is like the best in the world and the big guy is like average. If he has basic control over his body, his basic athleticism, right? He's athletic at the basic level, right? He knows basically how to fight. He's gonna kick the shit out of a small guy. That's how like size does matter at that level. But people don't realize that. And in the movie and shit, like some small guy kicking the shit out of like big guy, like yeah, that's not gonna happen, right? Jason Statham running towards like 2, 3, 7-foot guys and just kicking the shit out of them. Yeah, that shit's not gonna work.
Her later. Believe that! Anyway, Giant Brain Man engineered the whole thing to provoke a war between America and Japan, and with the two opposing battle fleets closing in on the Celestial, Captain Black Ant Falcon Man races to the scene to stop them. Jesus, as if Japan would even think about challenging the US military for control of anything. So Captain Black Ant...
Also, like, don't they like Japan, US have like this kind of like a natural partnership, or Japan relies on America on a lot of things since the World War II. So this is not Soviet Union or Russia versus USA. Japan versus USA doesn't work. Not to mention most of the superhero, aren't they supposed to be like Marvels and everybody, and Nick Fury is supposed to be American? Why would Japan fight at this? Like, yeah, I guess this is your shit. Like, enough aliens have attacked us by now. Like, your Avengers saves us every single time. Fine. Why would we challenge you? Like, you have authority here. Why would politics get, like geopolitics would get in the way of this?
Falcon Man is able to defuse the situation by strategically kicking missiles out of the air, and then everyone goes home and Ross gives a speech to celebrate, but then it turns out that the heart attack pills he's been taking the whole movie are actually gamma radiation pills, which Giant Brain Man uses to turn him into Red Hulk.
Right.
And yes, I'm being absolutely serious with this. Then there's a bit of a fight which destroys the White House, and Captain Black Ant Falcon Man asks him to stop being the Hulk because the writers couldn't think of any other way to get out of it, so he turns back into Harrison Ford and then everyone goes home. And that's it, that's the plot for Captain Black Ant Falcon Man Brave New Worlds. You know, when I think about the tortuous production process this movie had, all the rewrites and reshoots that it went through, it's actually hard to imagine what Brave New World even started out as. I mean, the overall tone is
something good. Maybe it was something good, and someone like, nah, this is too good. Like our superhero audiences basically are like have single digit IQ. We can't have that or some shit like that. I won't surprise like if somebody thought that and made it more simpler. Like there's many shit like I see a lot of video games where like a lot of things were cut out, then they show like what was cut out. Like what the fuck did you cut that out? Right? Shit like that happens all the time because they assume like something is too complex for certain people. And they're like, oh, we can't have that. And in today's world with the social media and everything, I won't be surprised if people actually think that. Like, let's not make things complex, make it too simplistic, which is kind of absurd. Like, people are not stupid, right? Even people who don't care is gonna notice simplistic shit. It would be insulting. Like, what are you doing?
Vaguely in line with Winter Soldier, there was clearly an attempt to ground it in something resembling reality, with all the government conspiracies, classified projects, Black Ops missions, and the looming threat of global war. The problem is, it also has to work in ridiculous bullshit like the continent-sized Celestial sticking out of the ocean and the Red Hulk, and those elements go together about as well as intersectional feminism and reason, logic, and personal accountability. You can't take the themes and emotional tone of the Eternals and Winter Soldier and mash them together in one movie and expect it to make sense. And as always, the devil is definitely in the detail here. First up, there's the antagonist. Instead of an understandable villain trying to bring about world peace by eliminating everyone who could oppose his agenda, furthering the movie's central theme of security versus freedom in Winter Soldier, we've instead got just another generic supervillain out for revenge. His motives and ultimate goals are as bare bones as the withered husk that was once Ariana Grande, and as much as we're constantly told that he's some genius biological computer who knows what you're gonna do weeks before you do it, his actions in the movie absolutely don't bear this out. He's constantly proven wrong and outsmarted by Captain Black Ant Falcon Man, and by the end of the film he just kinda gives up and calls it a day. Again, the maxim
This concept of some being too smart and having 10 steps ahead of you, if somebody is that smart, that would be actually too powerful to defeat. That is the worry of AI, right? If AI is too powerful, like conscious AI, it becomes too powerful, we're basically fucked regardless of what we do. Because AI will be too smart enough and will manipulate us. Basically, we'll be able to see all the scenarios, we even with the randomness, all the scenarios we might try to do, and we'll counter that. And we'll just play to our nature and dupe us just enough that we do and we trust it. And before we know it, we are like an animal inside a zoo. That's the fear of AI. We won't even realize that we are an animal inside a zoo, right? We might be something like Matrix, where we're just captured and we don't realize like we're living in this fake world type of shit. That's the fear of AI. That's what this guy should have been, right? All this like, oh, I didn't see that coming, I'm stumped. That's the scenario always comes. Like, if you're too smart, how are you stumped, right? If something like, okay, what if I do something completely different like a fucking monkey, right? What if I just suddenly boo, and so I did something stupid that you didn't see coming? Well, you should have seen that coming, that I might be too stupid to do stupid shit. That's the scenario. That's how I'm like this trope have been used in the past. I see 10 steps ahead of you. I see all the complicated thing you're gonna do, and that a protagonist just does something stupid. Like, you didn't see that coming, but you should have. Right? Like, that's one of the first things you should have like guessed. Like, if he does that, I should be prepared for that. So this trope never works.
That a character is only as smart as their writer remains undefeated. By all accounts, not only was this film reshot multiple times, but the runtime was also drastically cut back at the 11th hour, which probably explains why characters like Giant Brain Man get so little development. It's all been left on the cutting room floor. It's the same story with Giancarlo Esposito, who the trailers played up as some criminal mastermind that was going to test Captain Black Ant Falcon Man to his limits. In reality, he's just a basic bitch hired gun who appears in like 3 scenes, and watching a not particularly fit man in his mid-60s trying to hold his own in a fight against Anthony Mackie just made me feel embarrassed for both actors. Mackie himself.
Why would you have Giancarlo and not use him right? What the fuck is wrong with you? You just wanted that name in a credit scene. Like, you just wanted to say in trailer, see, we have Giancarlo. Why did Giancarlo agree to this shit? He just said, no, like, my whole role sucks. Are you kidding me? Like, I need more data. I think he's talked about in the past how he wants to be in a Marvel movie. I'm pretty sure he's talked about that. And he just saw his chance and just took it without even thinking about it. Because any other time he would have like read the script and would have said like, no, I need more than this. It's my it's my reputation.
himself does his best with the wildly inconsistent material he's got to work with. His basic character arc is similar to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a man conflicted about who he's working for and unsure about whether he's the right guy for the job. In the hands of better writers, and assuming it hadn't already been done in a TV show already, the story of a successor struggling to fill the hole left by a legendary hero and find his own path forward might have made for a decent character arc. Here though, it just feels forced and repetitive, trying to manufacture a character conflict that's already been resolved, and loading him down with ridiculous levels of
Why does he need to be Captain America again? Well, I think what he was, Falcon? He could have been the new Falcon, or I don't know, whatever. You gotta get behind Falcon completely. Why do you need to be? Pretty sure Captain America was Captain America because of his time. World War II times. He became Captain America then for the PR and shit. And he just like moved forward from there. There's like a history of that. Nobody can just like pick up and like, oh, now I'm new Captain America. Captain America what? Captain America concept was from World War II. And he just carried that forward. Right? Like if Captain America is like old and dead now, like you be something else. Like you don't need to be Captain America. This is weird.
Technology that can do almost anything makes him feel more like Iron Man than Captain America. Like, if you're gonna turn him into something that doesn't even vaguely resemble the hero he's replacing.
Yeah, Iron Man was more like, like playboy rich, like Batman is, right? Like playboy rich and smart genius. That's what, like he can't just be that. But he can't be Captain America either because he's not a superhuman. Like, what are we doing here?
Then why even call him Captain America in the first place? Then there's the small child pretending to be a secret agent whose name I totally forget because it's only mentioned like once in passing. A character who I guess once had a much bigger role in this film, kind of like Natasha in Winter Soldier, only definitely not as hot. But as it stands, I've got no idea how I'm supposed to feel about her because there's really nothing to like or dislike here. She barely even has any dialogue, never mind a personality or character arc, and if I was a cynical man, I'd say that her Israeli background might have had something to do with it. Likewise, the totally implausible
Wait a minute, what? So latest events, global events actually like had influence over like who gets what screen time? That's insane. That would ruin a movie. You would not go in front of like Quentin Tarantino or something and like he just haphazardly like in the end like change the entire character's timeline and all that shit because he already made up his mind like what that character's about. If you can just change shit at the last moment like that, like you don't have much of story, like you're just making shit. It's just like an act. It's like, I don't even want to say theater act because even that requires like detailed screenplay and everything. Like, I don't know, man. Of course it's gonna suck.
David and Goliath war between America and Japan when China would have been a much more plausible rival. But then again, we wouldn't want to offend one of Disney's biggest potential markets now.
Why would you say China? Like China, like at that point, like no Marvel in China. Half of Marvel collapses.
Would we? And I guess that's the fundamental problem when your storytelling philosophy is basically, let's push whatever ideas are current, safe, focus group tested and politically correct. Sometimes the culture and the politics.
I mean, I don't blame them with that. Like, you don't want to, like, why would you antagonize China? Like, that's, in the end of the day, money matters. Money is the reason all these things happen. Like, it's capitalism. We can't forget that, right? So yeah, you don't like, you could have said Russia, but then again, like Russian war, like, I don't know, why not say Russia? It's like your America's old nemesis always gets bring up, so I don't get the Japan thing, okay, right? Russia kind of has border everywhere, even close to Japan. You could have just said Russia, I don't know.
Politics shift quicker than your films can catch up to them, and the more you scramble to rewrite and reshape them, the more you hollow out their artistic integrity until there's basically nothing left. And that's what Brave New World really is when you get right down to it. An empty shell, superficially big and bombastic, but with no real meaning or creative intent behind it, awkwardly stitched together out of pieces from other more successful films, and feeling like it's got no particular reason to exist. I get the impression that nobody's been especially excited for this one in the run-up to release, least of all Marvel themselves, and now that I've seen it, I can definitely understand why.
Captain America is like flagship as flagship can get. He's literally the captain of Avengers, the first Avenger or whatever. Right? In comics book, he's like, if in DC, Superman and Batman is like the two top guys, Captain America is one of the top guys. Right? And Iron Man, I'm guessing, is another top guy, but I don't know if in comics he was the top guy. It always felt like, you know, like the movies made him like the guy. But I'm pretty sure Captain America is the guy in the comics, right? So if another movie of Captain America comes, how you not like nailing it perfectly? I don't know.
Why? Do yourself a favour, save the ridiculous ticket price, and do something more rewarding with your time instead, like a giant turds. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Okay. I mean, they tried to do it with, like Harrison Ford and all this money they threw away. Harrison Ford doesn't come cheap, right? I'm pretty sure he even asked for percentage or whatever the fuck that is, some shit like that, right? He's like when all said and done, like Harrison Ford always has like the biggest paycheck that is, and yeah, I don't know. And also like Giancarlo and everybody. So yeah, it's like they paid people, but come on, like they paid way too many people with the Avengers and things. So with that scale, come on, this doesn't cost that much. But then again, like Marvel hasn't been making money that much recently. I don't know. But yeah, I was never gonna watch this. I'm not gonna lie. Like for me, like original dies. Like I can't. I'm one of those people who can't just adjust like that. If like Steve Rogers is Captain America, for me that's Captain America. You can't just move on from that. Like it doesn't feel real to me. So I was never gonna watch that. It's like new. I'm pretty sure there's new Iron Man as well. Like, are you kidding me? Like, okay, I'm supposed to watch somebody besides Robert Downey. Oh, there's an Iron Man. Wait a minute. Robert Downey is also like one of the characters now in Marvel. How does that work? Like parallel universes? It's just weird. Like, why kill Iron Man if that's the case? If Robert Downey wanted to come back, he should have like. There was no need to kill Iron Man in the end game. I get it, like more theatrics and all that shit, but they could have figured it out. I don't know. At least we would have something to look forward to. Like, oh wait a minute, at least Iron Man is there. Captain America went away, Iron Man went away. Like those are the top two characters. What is that? Only Thor left? I don't know. Alright, well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can really help out this channel, and that way I know which videos to react to more. Comment down if you want to react to any specific video, and yeah. I guess I'll see you next time.